One of the things that I hear you saying is that diversity of thought and diversity of skill set is needed to create a more resilient food system,
Mm.
right? And I think there's such a beautiful parallel and analogy there, which is that diversity also creates resilience in nature,
Hmm.
right? Which is one of the challenges around industrial ag and monoculture farming.
Hmm.
But setting that aside, like if diversity is what's going to create resilience, and we're driving towards this more holistic, integrated food system, where do you see ag going in the next few decades? Is there like a unified theory, right? Like a unified field theory? Is that even possible? And what do you think are some of the critical next steps we're going to need to take in order to, continue to move in a healthier direction?
There are certainly theories. I don't think that there should be any sort of unified theory other than likely a move to decentralize for ag to be more local. I've been given an invitation. I moved to a small rural island community, and the vulnerabilities of large, vast supply chains and industrialized systems is really evident when you come here because we're fed by a barge that brings in all the supplies once a week. You can't just drive to the next town over, to get something that you may not have here. Um, and so there's something about, this very physical type of isolation that is very clarifying around the power of local sourced production and self-sufficiency and the resilience that results from that. What it also made me realize, because I'm out into the larger world working with larger systems, is that every city, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, these big cities that we think of as so connected where everything is, they are also islands. We got these glimpses of that vulnerability during the pandemic where shelves were empty in those places. And a lot of those places only have a couple days of real food security should those supply lines be disrupted. And that was a wake up call for a lot of folks, right? That you should think, if I'm sitting in Manhattan, the world is at my fingertips. I can get anything I want at any time. But that just is not the case. And so I've been inspired by the place that I live because I think it's a metaphor that we all sort of really need to deeply start to understand that all these systems we've created are vulnerable by virtue of being so far away and disconnected from one another. And so I think that's one of the invitations, is that my unifying theory is that we are going to get better quality food. We're going to get better outcomes. We're going to drive empathy and agency up as people invest in their local food economies. And we're going to get more collaboration as we start to understand that, in my region, should there be just ubiquitous cheap apples in Hawaii? There are some apples that can be grown here, but by and large, like, no, I shouldn't actually expect to have apples at any time of year, anytime I want, for as cheap as I can get them right now. I think that's a luxury I'm okay doing without once you understand sort of the cost behind it.